Your average gym bro, what does he do? He hits he hits lateral raises every single day. He hits bicep curls every single day. He might even bench every single day. Why? He's read online that some sort of stupid, what is it? I can't even remember the name for it. It's something like Nucleus overload. It's called Nucleus overload. It's this stupid idea that we can do like a bunch of junk volume and we will lead to enhanced growth through like duplicating the special cells in the muscle. Like, oh my goodness, this is so, it's so backwards. Then we have Anatoly, man. Anatoly, he understands that different muscles will recover faster, but he also understands that muscles have an amount of weekly volume that when you reach that cap, it doesn't matter if you exceed it, it's just going to generate fatigue, both CNS and muscular. And so he understands that he doesn't need to push beyond that. That's the thing. I remember one day when I was going through researching on YouTube and I came across this channel. Can't remember the name for the life of me, but it was explaining Nucleus overload. And literally imagine me sitting here and I'm like, man, my shoulders aren't really where I want them, my arms aren't really where I want them. And I watch this video and this guy's telling me that you can focus on one body part a month and bring it up to like a huge acceleration. You can bring it to this amazing place. And what does he use? He uses examples which make sense. He talks about mechanics and how their forearms are like, not like mine, they're absolutely goated. He talks about like cyclists and how these cyclists have like the hugest quads. Not quads, calves. What am I doing? That would be quads if I... He talks about the cardio bunnies who do some cardio and then do like squats every single day and they have like a dumpy and stuff. And I'm watching this and I'm just there like, oh, this is making sense. This is making so much sense. You know, I kind of have like a monkey brain moment, right? Where I'm not really thinking, I'm not really considering, which is why now when I learn, I try and explore a bit more, like, you know, like we all do, because we're not going to take things at face value anymore. We're going to actually check our sources because this matters to us. Like, we're trying to build something. But I watched this video and this guy explains exactly how to do it. It's like 20 reps, 5 sets, literally almost no rest in between it, and it's basically just pump training. And the idea is that like something increases, which is actually something which does increase, sure, but later on we discovered that it wasn't even like related to hypertrophy, or it was like a completely different mechanism. And it's like, oh, okay, why are you spreading this like false information? And that's the thing. To this day, I still see people doing it. You know, we're not going to do this. We understand that this isn't what it works. Like, it happens to have similar mechanisms to what actually causes hypertrophy, and that's why some of the, like, junk volume does cause, you know, spamming lateral raises, and it's like, okay, there is a bit of crossover, but we understand the concepts behind this, and we know why this isn't something that works. Nucleus overload is the, like, dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I still see people falling for it. People ask me if it's good, or I see someone talking about how they're like, I'm on week 3 of Nucleus overload, I'm gonna get the biggest bottle of shoulders ever. And I'm like, and then I try and argue it, and they're like, well, I haven't really seen enough evidence, you know, saying that that's true. Even though I explain it in, like, complete logically ways of, like, you know, explaining mechanisms. And how can someone say that to me when they're doing something that literally has no backing? How can you say, when someone, like, explains to you how to do heart surgery, how can you be like, yeah, well, I take this supplement and it says, someone told me it was good for the heart. I got it from, like, you know, one of those, like, weird, like, woo-woo stores, and it has no, like, literature backing, and, you know, they told me that it used to be used to, like, cure every disease in the world. It's like, bro, you cannot bring in research and studies and science to this when you're talking about some, like, you know, Krabby Patty formula which doesn't exist. It just angers me because people are getting lost in this, because obviously they want the quick fix, and when someone gives them a quick fix, that's kind of easy, because let's be real, spamming laterals isn't that hard. Like, you're not actually like, lateral raises to failure is such a difficult thing, but it's not that hard when you're, like, spamming them, and you're doing it because someone's telling you that's something which is easier, because you're literally supposed to be going away from failure. Like, you're not going close to it, you're doing, like, moderate intensity. When stuff like that happens, you're like, You want me to put less effort in and I get more? And then they try it and maybe it even works. Inflammation, I'm sure, is a big part of that. You know, you're causing so much damage that you're getting so much inflammation and you're causing some size increase. And then, of course, there is mechanisms very similar to hypertrophy which come alongside. But that's the thing. This is not what we want, man. But let's get a bit on topic. So, training to failure will have the exact same impact no matter what muscle it is, so long as it is contractile tissue. You know, we're not trying to like hypertrophy. All tissue in our body that can be hypertrophied has certain hypertrophy stimulus bottlenecks, right? And similarly, every muscle in our body has muscle damage that occurs and muscle repair. Now, sure, some of the smaller muscles may recover in 1 or 2 days compared to, you know, up to 3 days with some of the larger muscles, but the fact that they're repaired doesn't mean that we need to like go beyond. You know, it's like when we're in Minecraft and we're using the pickaxe to like actually get diamonds. That's really, really good. We have to repair it. We have to maybe use mending like on an XP farm or something, and then you know that chunk only has so many diamonds. Say we were literally X-raying to get those diamonds, right? Like, this is something which most people don't have access to because obviously most people are like, they're not cheating, you know, they're not on steroids, they're not X-raying. But let's say we were X-raying and we could see that this entire chunk had no resources, and then we decided to keep mining. We decided that now that our pickaxe was mended, we're gonna mine it because the pickaxe is mended. Like, that is completely backwards. Like, you don't work out because your muscle has repaired. You work out because your muscle is ready for another stimulus. Because your muscle has a cap which is always the same, but you're able to kind of build that stimulus back up. And why would we waste our time in a chunk without diamonds? Without even iron or coal or, you know, gold. Let's say we take in all the resources. We don't want cobblestone. And yet people will be like, oh, but my bicep has recovered, you know, I gotta go mine that cobblestone. You know, that's what's gonna make my make my physique incredible. Like, no, there is absolutely no value. You're just causing more damage, which if anything, let's say we go 3 years into the future and you're actually progressing. Let's say you're training to failure and you're training to failure on things as soon as they recover. Let's say we don't care about the cap, we don't care about getting the diamonds. We're just gonna train to failure at every opportunity. What's gonna happen is you're gonna get really crazy strong, but you're gonna get to a place where you're too strong, right? And so when it comes to balancing your fatigue and you're trying to exceed a cap, which you can't exceed, not only are you causing like a ton of damage for your body to recover from, but your CNS is being absolutely fried. Like, I guarantee to you, a 1-plate bench is completely different to a 2-plate bench in the way it actually affects your central nervous system. The stronger you get, the harder it is to recover from. That is a fact. That is why someone who gigabulks and starts plateauing because his training is rubbish will end up having the same amount of muscle when he cuts at those advanced levels, purely because he wasn't able to mitigate fatigue and manage recovery in a way where he's actually generating new tissue. He's just causing damage, he's just not able to recover, and the physique is permanently the same. No matter if he cuts or if he bulks, it's the same. Like, there's no differences, there's no progression. And, you know, sure, that leads to the whispers of other content creators, convincing them to start taking steroids or all that stuff thing, which, you know, this is a natural channel. We're never going to start taking that stuff because we know the actual mechanisms in place to build muscle. We know about the value of training to failure. We know that we're not going to go get diamonds in a chunk which has 0 diamonds. We're going to wait, then we're going to move on to the next chunk. Like, I think it's absolutely crazy. And